Welcome back into the Hog Hoops Report with Kevin McPherson. Ailey Weiss here as well. Lots to talk about. Arkansas on the road again for their second consecutive weekend in SEC play, taking on the Georgia Bulldogs, and again coming away with the loss.
Yeah, so Arkansas's lost two of its last three games, both by double digits, both on the road, bookend Saturdays. Oh, that feel-good midweek win at home by 34 points over South Carolina. Arkansas didn't build on that performance. Arkansas took another step back on the road. In fact, Ailey, if you throw in the win over Ole Miss on the road prior to the Auburn, so if you look at the last four games, Arkansas split those 2-2. But if you look at the three SEC road games, Arkansas is giving up an average of 90.5 points per game, including the win over Ole Miss. And so, what did we say about this defense when we were on last week? I think we talked about Calipari saying after the Auburn game, "Burn the tape. This wasn't my team." And I said I partly agree with that because Arkansas hadn't lost a game by double digits, let alone lose by 20 plus points. So in that sense, we hadn't seen that yet. But from another standpoint, yeah, this kind of is your team because we've seen a defense that does not have a strong suit, period, at all. It's not a good defense, and it's kind of devolving. It's not really getting better. It's devolving. And so from that sense, this is your team. And Arkansas showed it again yesterday. Went out and said, hey, we can give up 90 points. We can. And so this was a game where when I look at the three biggest areas that really hurt Arkansas, and maybe you want to bring some of this up too, but when I look at the turnovers, Arkansas was down, almost doubled up at halftime, 11-6. Arkansas actually won that battle in the second half. When you look at the number of turnovers, ends up only -1, 18 turnovers. That's inexcusable to begin with. Arkansas was stumbling, bumbling, and flopping all game long. Couldn't even stay on their feet, let alone take care of the basketball. 18 turnovers. Georgia 17. But the real stat here is, what did you do with the turnovers that you got, and what did they do with the turnovers they got? Nearly 2-1 advantage. Georgia 29-15, 14 point plus 14 points in the points off turnovers department, and you lose by 14. That stat, as much as anything, was defined this game. There were other ones that did too, but I thought if you had to pick one out, that was probably it. And again, the defense just awful. And the bad start. You tell me what you want to talk about, because we got a lot we can point to and complain about.
We're talking about identity here, and Coach Cal's team was fantastic about getting out in transition and having transition points. They were number 1, number 2 in the country in transition points earlier this season. And now what? What are you doing with the ball? You're causing the turnovers, or you're causing the other team to play sloppy on offense to get the ball. But that you're doing the defense, you're doing the hard work, but then you get down on the offensive end, and then what?
Yeah, and you talked about it. Transition offense wasn't really how stats are sometimes so misleading at times. Sometimes they tell you exactly what happened, like the turnovers we just talked about. But in transition, Arkansas scored 25 points. Georgia's transition defense reminded me of Arkansas's. It wasn't there. The problem is Arkansas doesn't have a transition defense either. Only +2, 25-23. That spread should have been greater. But guess what? Here's another stat that did matter. Arkansas was only 13 of 28 on layups, less than 50%. Missed 15 layups. Some of that was in transition. So we can talk about Arkansas having a top 10 offense efficiency-wise, according to KenPom, and an elite offense, and the Razorbacks do. But the truth is that with a really bad defense and you're not getting stops late in a close game, Arkansas fell behind 17 in the first half, trailed it by 13 at halftime, down 19 early in the second half, fought all the way back to tie the game twice late, and yet couldn't get stops defensively in the end. Then when they did get an initial stop, couldn't get the defensive rebound, and Georgia cast the second chance into 3s and 2s. And then on offense, Arkansas kicking the ball around, more turnovers, poor shot selection. Like Calipari said, taking early one-on-one plays, a lot of stuff that is even puzzling offensively for a team that technically is an elite offense. But I look at those 13 of 28 on layups. You're not going to win games on the road when you can't score at the rim, when you can't defend, and when you just turn the ball over 18 times. and get doubled up, giving up nearly 30 points off turnovers. That's not a formula for winning. And even at the free throw line, both teams only took 16 free throws. There weren't a lot of fouls called in this game, and Georgia made one more free throw than Arkansas, effectively a draw. There really wasn't any area that Arkansas helped itself except rebounds and offensive rebounds. Arkansas was +8 on the glass overall, +7 on the offensive glass, 16-9. That's usually not a strength. But then when you look at second chance points, Arkansas was +5 there, 20-15. But 8 of those 15 points, more than half, came down in those last 4 or 5 minutes for Georgia when the Bulldogs missed the initial shot and Arkansas could not close out the possession. Sometimes it's not just the totality of stats, but when teams put those stats to their advantage in a crucial part of the game, Arkansas just went from, again, I mean, Arkansas never led this game. And it was only tied briefly a little bit. I think Georgia led 38 plus minutes in this game.
Yeah. Well, we kind of jumped to the end of the game, but let's go back to the very beginning because they kind of just had a sluggish start from the get-go.
Yeah. You got down 11-0. You had one team moving the ball briskly, getting good ball movement. You had Arkansas mono 1-on-5 and turning the ball over and just not locked in at either end. And you felt, and this was like the Auburn game. You got down early, big early, and really never recovered. In this game, you recovered. Georgia was more than willing with, again, 17 turnovers. Georgia took 33 shot attempts from three, having so much success inside the arc, yet they shot a lot of threes and made 12. I mean, Arkansas only made 5 of 21. So another statistical area you could point to is why this ended the way it did. But unlike the Auburn game, Arkansas actually had chances here, and again, tied it twice. But that early bad start, it's so hard on the road. We can talk about all the stats in the world. It's so hard when you're on the road to dig yourself out of that hole and expect to win a game.
Yeah, particularly hard when you're on the road in an SEC environment. There's definitely some courts that are harder to play at than others, like the Jungle, for instance, like at Auburn. Like that is known to be a place that is tough to play at as a visiting team. But Georgia, I wouldn't say is up there in the SEC, but it's like any road game is still a tough game to play in. But it didn't feel like they were playing their style of basketball. Coach Cal was talking about it after the game as well. They're making these extra passes before they're even looking at the hoop. Or on the other side, 18 seconds left, and you're going one-on-one with a player in front of you. Like, that's not the basketball that this team's been playing all season.
Yeah, well, if you add up the Auburn game with this Georgia game, in both games you had more turnovers than assists. Formulas for losing on the road. We can point to so many things, but it tells you that the offense, again, in these games was kind of broken. It was kind of broken, and the defense certainly is. And so you got both sides of the ball where you're bumbling, stumbling, and crumbling and flopping. That was Arkansas in this game. But if you have an identity, it is your offense. That's the strength. And so you need that to be on point to survive the fact that you've got to score a lot and efficiently and make the defense work hard, because on the other end, your defense is going to get exposed a lot. And again, what Calipari's saying is true. Now, some of that's on him. I mean, some of the personnel decisions late in the game. I mean, Nick Pringle had a forgettable game, and he was on the court late when the game was manageable and you still had a chance to win it. I couldn't figure that out because he was making mistakes. He was credited with only 3 turnovers. It felt like he had 10. And Arkansas kept trying to play two-man game through him, and he can't handle the ball. Your best play with him offensively is lob passing to him at the rim, where all he's got to do is quick catch and dunk, or let him come in for a putback dunk. But you're trying to run two-man. Anytime he's got to catch the ball with both hands and then make a move after that, it's trouble. And Arkansas hasn't figured out still sometimes, to me, what they should be doing if they're going to try to execute on offense. So that was part problematic.
And I think it's important to be clear also that Arkansas needs to find an identity on offense, and that cannot be just Darius Acuff Jr. Yes, he is an outstanding, phenomenal player. Freshman doesn't even matter at this point. He is a phenomenal player. But he can't be the only one. Yeah, he had 20 points yesterday, but you guys still lost. And then you had Billy Richmond. He had 8 rebounds, was a beast off the boards. but he had 12 points also,
Yeah.
and then Malik Ewan had 12 points as well. So you have a couple of other guys like contributing as well, but that's just not enough, and it didn't feel like they were ever fully in motion on offense.
Yeah. I think Billy Richmond has probably been the most consistent player
Yeah.
Arkansas's had at both ends. And he's not a big volume scorer, but he does things. He gets offensive
But he
rebounds and
can
putbacks.
contribute, yes.
Absolutely. He does the little things, the glue stuff. And, it's almost hard to argue with his effort. Now, he does silly stuff. He steps out of bounds nearly every game when he catches a pass on the wing. And you're like, okay, dude, get feet, but you're going to have to live with some of that for all the wonderful things he does. And we
Right.
know Darius Acup Jr. has been a dynamo offensively. He's not very good defensively. Arkansas isn't anywhere. It's not just him. But Acup is a dynamo offensively typically. But the 4 turnovers, he had 3 or 4 turnovers on the road against Auburn. So if you look at those 2 games combined, Acup, I think he, averaged 19.5 points in those 2 games. That's about what he does. Not quite as efficient shooting the ball in those games, even though he got the points. But he had as many turnovers as assists in those 2 games when you add it all up. And so that's bad because as much as he plays 39 minutes yesterday, only 1 minute off the court, the ball's in his hands all the time offensively. So, and it's not all on him, but Malik Thomas, who's been up and down, 4 of 17 from the field, 9 points, 1 of 6 from 3. He also got on the glass, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. He did some good things, but got beat defensively a lot. I mean, these guys are better offensively, much better, the 2 freshmen, than they are defensively, and you're hoping that they improve defensively. But when you have your veteran guys not locked in on that end and underperforming at that end, I thought Carter Knox did some good things in this game. Arkansas didn't make many threes. He hit 2 in the second half that helped Arkansas stay in this game and get back in it. 2 of 4 from 3, 3 of 6 overall from the field. Butchered a couple of plays but didn't turn it over a ton in this game. He had 8 points. He got on the glass again, I think 7 rebounds, blocked a shot at the rim. Somptu Cyril, who is a beast, a 6'11" big man.
Oh my gosh.
Who blocked
It
a lot
looked
of
like he
shots
was spiking the volleyball out there. That was literally what it looked like. 9 out of the 10 times Arkansas would go down there. Coach Cal got to the point in the press conference, he's like, why are we just lobbing it up when we know he's right behind us? You know he's going to swat it away. Make the extra pass behind you. Do a pump fake. Something. Throw him off. Just do something.
Yeah, because you're trying to get a play. And if Arkansas just used ball fakes against a shot-blocking team, not only are you going to get a better chance to finish the play, you're probably got a chance to draw contact and get to the free throw line.
Yep.
There just weren't a whole lot of fouls. This wasn't a big fouling game and a lot of free throw shot. That was an area that maybe could have helped Arkansas. There's all kinds of things we can point to. Just a bad game at both ends. The difference between then and this again, and in the Auburn game, Arkansas fought back and got in. And a lot of that had to do with Georgia being weak in some areas.
Yeah, they let them crawl back.
Transition defense, careless with the basketball. This is a high-octane offense in Georgia that likes to get up shots quickly, and a lot of those were threes, and some of them were just weird threes. I thought, that's a bad shot. Now, they ended up making 12. They took 33. Percentage ended up being pretty good, but Georgia was the better team, point blank, period, on this day, in this game, on their home court.
Yep, Georgia, the better team out of the 2 this past weekend. We're going to talk a little bit more, look ahead a little bit for Arkansas, try and leave this game in the past on the other side of the break. Stick with us. Welcome back into the Hog Hoops Report. Up next, Arkansas has number 10 Vanderbilt, a team that's coming off a close loss on Saturday against Florida. And it feels like Arkansas keeps facing these teams after they have these close losses, right? Like Georgia just lost midweek on a buzzer beater. Then the week before that, Auburn had just lost to a buzzer beater. So it's like everyone's coming into these games against Arkansas really mad.
Yeah, and what all 3 have in common, not only did they lose really close games, they lost them on their home court. The difference between Auburn, Georgia, and Vanderbilt is that Auburn and Georgia had another home game to get right, and Arkansas ran into a buzzsaw. This time around, Vanderbilt's coming to Bud Walton Arena, so Arkansas got a chance to stop that losing big to teams that are coming off tough losses because they're playing at home. But this is a Vanderbilt team that is a lot better, in my opinion. Well, at least so far they've been better than Georgia and Auburn have been on the season. Won its first 16 games. The Commodores are coming off back-to-back losses. First loss of the season on the road to Texas in the midweek, then that tough loss to Florida, which is probably playing better than anybody in the SEC when you look at SEC games, and they're tied for first with Texas A&M at 4-1, as are the Gators. So Vanderbilt comes in looking to get well. And that you talk about offense, fourth in the country in offensive efficiency, according to KenPom, averaging between 91 and 92 points per game. 4 players in double-figure scoring. They got at least 2 players playing in all SEC level. They've got retention, and the Commodores don't turn the ball over a lot. They get a lot of stocks, blocks, shots, and steals. When you combine those two, nearly 15 per game. And you understand why this team's 16-2. They're 4-1 in road games, so they know how to win on the road. I mean, this is a huge challenge for Arkansas, and the defense is trending the wrong way. The only encouraging thing is you're at home, and in your previous 2 home games against SEC teams, Tennessee and then South Carolina, you held those teams in the mid-70s in scoring. Now, this is an elite. This is a Vanderbilt team that's better than those 2 opponents. It's just a better team, especially offensively. So we'll see what happens. But if you're in a track meet and it's the first team to 100, I'm going to get, I think that favors Arkansas as good as Vanderbilt is offensively, playing at home. And so Arkansas's got to minimize turnovers in this game, got to really minimize that because, again, Vanderbilt doesn't turn it over a whole lot. And then Arkansas's got to find a way. This is a Vanderbilt team that will foul you. 20 fouls per game. They'll send you to the line. Arkansas, most nights, is a really good free throw shooting team. Arkansas needs to run up those margins, figure out a way to turn Vanderbilt over when it can, and then get out and run. But Arkansas's got to take care of the basketball. And you can score on Vanderbilt inside the arc. They're good defensively, defending the three-point line, but attacking the paint, getting to the rim. If Vanderbilt fouls a lot, that means you can't take a bait and try to hoist a bunch of threes. You got to attack this team so you can draw those fouls. Advantage Arkansas at home. I know it's hard for me to say that. I mean, this Arkansas has got in real jeopardy of picking up its first home loss. Arkansas is 11-0 in the state of Arkansas, 10-0 in Bud Walton Arena. Arkansas is in real danger of dropping that because Vanderbilt's a good road team. It's a good team, period. It's better defensively than Arkansas as well. Ranked 22nd in efficiency rating. Arkansas 62nd. So numerically, statistically, analytically, Vanderbilt's the better team. But at Bud Walton Arena, Arkansas needs to have another game where it goes, okay, we played poorly in this game on the road. We're coming home, and we're going to play lights out. Arkansas needs another one of those kind of performances. And even if Vanderbilt's up to a challenge, Arkansas's just got to find a way to win a close game in the end.
Yeah, okay, so to kind of tie it all into a bow for me here, what are your 2 things that Arkansas needs to do against Vanderbilt to get the win?
Yeah, I just think Arkansas's got to be better in the turnover game, better in the transition game, and then run up those margins at the free throw line. They got to. Vanderbilt will foul. They make a lot of plays defensively. I mentioned the steals and blocks. They get a bunch of those when you combine it. An average 15 a game when you add in nearly 10 steals per game and over 5 blocks. But when you're making plays like that defensively, that means you're gambling a little bit and you're reaching. And so if you're doing that, you're going to pick up some fouls.
Yeah.
So the only way you make that team pay for playing that style is to attack. If you settle for threes, you're not going to get a lot of whistles.
You're playing into their hands.
Really attack them. But you can't just attack. You got to do it smartly. You can't have a game where you have more turnovers than you do assists. You got to run up those margins, take care of the ball, run up the assist margin, share it, and then challenge these defenders. And you're at home, and so that's the one saving grace for Arkansas. They've been really good at home. Vanderbilt's been really good on the road. I think this is a close game at the end of it, and I give just an ever so slight edge to Arkansas here, but I may change my mind as we get closer to Tuesday because Arkansas, again, defensively, it's been really bad on the road. I mean, that's the only thing at home. It hasn't been great, but it's been better. And Arkansas typically plays better offensively at home as well. So kind of riding the wave of home game.
Yeah. Well, I want to just add to your turnover point really quick. Yes, causing turnovers, but then taking care of the ball on the offensive end and converting it into points, right? Because they did cause a number of turnovers, 17, I think it was, against Georgia yesterday. But then what did you do with the ball? nothing.
Yeah.
Like half
You
the time it
kicked
was
it back,
nothing.
didn't you?
So
Too often Arkansas missed a layup. I mean, Arkansas got a lot in transition, 25
yeah,
points. And some of that was off those turnovers, especially in the second half, but they didn't. They missed a lot of layups too. Some of that was in transition, and then they would turn it right back over. It's like, oh, you had a boo boo? We can do that too.
right,
Here's the ball back. I mean, there was
right.
too much of that. Too much of that. Arkansas is not a. I keep saying this on different platforms. Arkansas is not a serious basketball team right now. And I know that sounds weird because it's a ranked team. It's
Hmm.
still doing strong despite these recent losses in net and in Kim Palm rankings. But you have to be better when you play away from home than giving up 90 and a half points per game. You have to be better offensively than Arkansas has been in these last two road games where you're losing by an average of 18 points per game against Auburn and Georgia.
Hmm.
You are not a serious contender for a team we were talking about preseason as the potential to be a final weekend, Final Four kind of team. No way, not where they are currently.
Hmm.
That's laughable. So it's not a serious basketball team right now, despite having some quad one wins, some good solid wins. The defense is trending the wrong way. The overall both ends on the road away from home is trending the wrong way. Yes, you get a really quality quad win, top 10 rated team. Now
Hmm.
Vanderbilt won't be ranked 10th in the country when the polls come out. They lost both games last week. They're going to fall a little bit, but it's still a quad one win opportunity. You need it desperate. I don't say desperately, but you really need it to kind of
Bounce back.
you're trying to point the ship back in the right direction. The other thing, Ailey, is for the first time in SEC play through 5 games, Arkansas still has a winning record despite the problems. They're 3-2.
Yeah.
Usually they're 0-5 or 1-4, and they're
Yeah.
already out of the race. They're only a game behind two teams right now. And for the first time in SEC play, not only did they get Vandy at home, but Saturday they'll get LSU at home. It's their first back-to-back home stretch
Hmm.
in SEC play.
Hmm.
So there's maybe some positives to look at when you look through that lens.
Yeah. Well, Arkansas's defense going to need to step up when they host Vandy on Tuesday. That'll do it for your Hog Hoops report. More Pig Trail coming up after the break. Kevin, thanks so much.